Hi guys, German Prepper here. In today's video, I want to talk to you about something that I think is very important. It's a prepper garden. Now, what is a prepper garden? Well, most preppers, they keep seeds, keep bags and bags of seeds. And their intention is, when something goes really wrong, when it's really, really obvious that something terrible has happened, they're going to rush out there and plant those seeds and hope for loads of plants, great crops, and some kind of self-sufficiency. I don't think that's realistic at all. I think that as a prepper, you should have these things in hand well before SHTF situation. Now, I don't necessarily mean you should be planting lots of seeds. There's actually an alternative to that, and that is planting things now that you're going to be able to come back to year on year and reap the rewards. And the reward in this case is food. Now, a good example of that would be fruit trees. This is a beautiful cherry tree here. It's about 40 years old, and the cherries from this would literally feed a family of 5 for quite a few weeks on just cherries, if you could bear it. They're delicious. You'd probably want to mix them with something else. But the point I'm making is, a tree in your garden like this, aside from being beautiful, nice to be around, is also a source of potential food in the best of situations and in the worst. Now let's take a further look at what else you could put up in your garden now to save you on future heartache. We have apple trees. Here, great example of some little fruit bushes that are just coming up. Grew these inside from seed, and looking forward to this year, perhaps next year, getting a crop out of them. Here we have blackberries, excellent source of nutrition, and if it came to it, the leaves are actually edible. So, middle of winter, worst case situation, it's not going to give you a lot of calories, but you could eat those leaves there. Here we have red currants, very large bush. This one keeps us fed for many, many weeks for breakfast and puddings. Lovely berries, a bit bitter. They can also be incredibly sweet, so it's a nice mix. Here we have some red gooseberries. And here we have black currants. So it's a new bush, only 1 year old. As you can see, it's already got a fair crop on there. Hope to expand with a few more of these bushes in the coming years. Green gooseberries here. Now all these bushes and the trees that I've just shown you, they're obviously going to crop year on year. But there are other smaller plants that you can have in your garden. And the best one I can recommend, and one you probably haven't thought of necessarily, is rhubarb. Rhubarb is an excellent source of nutrition. You can't eat the leaves, you eat the stems. Give you some idea, you've got these huge stems in there, you cut them off, boil them up with a bit of sugar, delicious. I've decided to expand my patch this year. I let it go to seed last year, planted quite a few thousand seeds, and as you can see, they're just starting to come up everywhere. Now, a couple of other great ones which you probably haven't considered. Wild garlic, and this is excellent. You can eat the leaf, the root, and the flower on this. I recommend just eating the leaves. Save the flowers for seed and spread your patch. This was put in last year just with a literal handful of seeds. Already we've got a great batch here, and I plan to spread this in the years to come. Now here's one you haven't thought of, stingy nettles. Why not make that a deliberate part of your garden? They're a bit like spinach when it comes to boiling and eating them. You can make them into tea. They are an excellent year on year, perhaps all year round, staple food supply. Another example, which are just starting to come up, nasturtiums. As you can see, there's some seeds down here on the ground. Pick you one up. As you can see, that was a seed from last year. And when they flower, they'll produce 3 or 4 of these per flower, and I just let them lay here in the soil, and as you can see, they are coming up as they came up last year and the year before, and they're just spreading, getting more and more and more. Now with these, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the seeds. They're all spicy. They give some hard to describe really. You need to try them. They are delicious, extremely spicy, and a lovely addition to any kind of salad. They're coming up now. You could start to eat these now, whereas anything else in the rest of the garden is well, it's not up yet in terms of things that are seeded. So I highly recommend nasturtiums. Now let's move on. Here we have strawberries. Now these are actually a wild variety of strawberry, and what we found was just 1 or 2 plants like these put in a bed. Well, they'll turn into that within literally 12 months. If you have the space, put these in, you will have masses of strawberries early on in the year. Here we have raspberries. Again, they come up year on year, they spread like wild, and they will have some lovely crops on them later in the year. Another tree to consider would be hazelnut. Obviously nuts are a great source of nutrition and natural fat, and you could do a lot worse than putting in a beautiful hazelnut bush in your garden or in your hedging. And again, that late in the year, that will provide nuts which can be kept throughout the winter. So an excellent source there. Here we have chives and some larger French onions, I believe. Now these are all excellent in cooking, in salads, raw, extremely delicious, and they come up year on year. A bit of self-seeding going on there, but they will come up perennially, and excellent source of nutrition. Here we have a form of mint and another form of mint, and these spread like crazy. They can be eaten raw, they can be put in salads, you can make teas with them, and they can be relied upon to come up year on year and spread like wild. So again, if you have the space, you can have fields of these. Now, as well as these crops that I've shown, there's obviously the more traditional herbs that you should also consider putting in. Not only will they add variety to your cooking, but they're full of nutrients and can make lovely teas as well. We have sage. Again, we have this one big plant here, but this year we'll be spreading it out with lots of little baby plants that have come up from a bit of self-seeding. So a lovely perennial there. Right, let's move on. Now, here we have what was a brownfield site, I like to say. We had a structure here that came down in the recent storm. You can see that in one of my other videos. And rather than waste the space, I got rid of the damaged building, pulled up the boards, got rid of all the stones that have been put underneath, and put in some good topsoil here. And now we're going to be having a perennial herb garden. Again, you plant these once, and year on year you'll have food. Here we have lavender. Now, lavender is good for flavouring in cooking, and obviously it has other medicinal and hygiene purposes. Obviously it can make lovely scented things, and it's extremely versatile in its uses. Here we have fennel. This is the red variety, good for making tea, delicious in salads, and the seeds are a spicy addition to food. Here we've got some more fruit bushes, which are very small at the moment. We've grown these inside from seed that we collected from our own berries, and so we hope end of this year there may be a small crop on these as well. Here we've got rosemary, small at the moment, but should grow up this year. Some purple sage here, thyme, one of my favourites, a curry plant, and it really does taste and smell like curry. So imagine, hard times have come, the shipments have stopped. Where'd you get curry powder from? Well, you probably can't get it anymore. But you have a curry plant in your garden, you can still make something that tastes and smells a lot like curry. Here we've got some green fennel. And additionally, I put in this little hedge here, and this is bay leaf. The bay leaf is excellent for cooking, putting a few pieces of leaf inside a fish, and can be added to other meals as well. So there we are, guys. A prepper's garden. If you've got any recommendations for other things that we could be adding into our prepper garden, I'd love to hear in the comments below. Anyway, cheers for now, guys.